What'll it be?
Are you on the menu? Something hard. Get ready to watch some gorgeous girls make cocktails, watch some gorgeous men be socially awkward, and watch some gorgeous men become gorgeous women. With a healthy dose of random anime sound effects thrown in there as well. From Resident Evil to now Final Fantasy VII, 2020, whilst no one is denying, has been arguably one of the worst years in human history, it's been pretty decent for remakes. Having not played the original, this was my first time experiencing the very famous game in the Final Fantasy series, with extremely lovable characters, a fantastic combat system, and beautiful graphics in a breathtaking setting. There's very little that Final Fantasy VII Remake gets wrong, and I'm excited to see where Square Enix takes the series next with their remakes. Yo, what's up guys, my name is GoldKarat and welcome back to another 24K reviews by gamers for gamers, where the 24K Club and I review our experience of games together. All of the scores given throughout the video are averages of the scores given by the 24K Club. If you would like to join, then make sure you follow my Twitter, Facebook, or join the Discord, and make sure you check out our experience of the game live together on Twitch. All of the links are in the description below. And without further ado, let's get into Final Fantasy VII Remake review. The Final Fantasy VII Remake project is highly ambitious, with this game just set in Midgard, which was only the prelude of the original Final Fantasy VII game. And this game is on 2 Blu-ray discs. You play as Cloud, an ex-soldier now a mercenary hired by an environmental activist group known as Avalanche. Avalanche's goal is to stop the company Shinra from its environmental exploitation, harvesting a powerful substance known as Mako to power Midgard, which is slowly destroying the planet. An interesting story is presented for the game, which made me sometimes question if our actions were actually good initially. However, as the plot begins to play out, you soon come to realize who the real villains are, with some characters showing generic, overly villainous traits. Through gaming in general, I always knew about these characters, even though I hadn't played the game myself, since they were so loved by other gamers. And it's great to finally have a better understanding of them. All of the main characters are lovable in their own ways. Cloud develops from being a socially awkward ex-soldier into a slightly less socially awkward mercenary by the end of the game.
Give me a break.
But throughout the game generally has good intentions to save those he cares for and the people around him. Barrett is a very loud and intimidating character who I personally felt was a bit too over the top initially, but the further I got into the game, the more I began to realize how much of a giant softie he is that really cares about his family and the planet, even if he doesn't always go about it the right way. Tifa for me is 100% the best girl. Playing as her was extremely fun. She pulls off the most badass moves and combos and was easily the most fun character to play as. Aerith was surprisingly a good character. Going into the game, I initially thought that she was going to be extremely girly and over the top, probably due to how she's represented in Kingdom Hearts. But she's just an extremely kind person that has a large role to play in the game's plot overall and can really hold her own. Sephiroth is presented as a threatening character, however there's still a lot of mystery surrounding this character as someone that is new to the Final Fantasy VII story, such as why is he so threatening and powerful, and why Cloud seemingly has PTSD about him. I'm sure all of this will be explained in future games down the line. However, to new players to the franchise, it's not necessarily explained clearly why he is so threatening. The side characters in the game are also very lovable. However, there's Jessie, and Jessie is...
There's such a thing as playing too hard to get.
Jessie is a character that feels like she's meant to be a strong woman that can look after herself, but ends up most of the time just coming across seriously annoying and clingy. Even Cloud mentions this.
Mind coming over tomorrow night? My roommates should all be out for a while.
Are you seriously that desperate? Just let go already.
The story is far from perfect. One glaring issue I had with the game was this build-up throughout the whole story of getting all 4 party members together and being able to fight with all 4 characters. And when all 4 of you finally gather together, what happens?
I say we split up.
Oh
Take
my...
them down at the same time.
Oh my god.
In that case,
This was extremely frustrating, and it felt annoying that the game never actually gave the player a final satisfying battle with all 4 characters. There are a couple of times throughout the story where the characters do some mind-numbingly stupid things, such as letting one of the main bad guys crawl away from you back to their desk and then acting surprised when that character pulls a gun out on you. The gameplay of the game is split into exploration, combat, and cinematics. Yes, cinematics. There are around 9 hours of cinematics alone in this game, so be prepared to watch the game a good chunk whilst also playing it. The combat in the game is excellent. The game has a fantastic blend of real-time and strategic gameplay. At any point in combat, you can switch character in battle, which is generally required during situations when you need to be more effective at long range, for example with Barret. You can also enter tactical mode, which allows you to take your time and select moves for any of the characters in your party to perform, including using abilities, items, limits, and summons. All of these skills require ATB. The ATB gauge fills up slowly over time but increases quicker when the character lands hits. The combat is one of the best parts of the game, making the player constantly think about managing their ATB, their MP, and deciding which characters perform which spells to ensure all of them survive through the onslaught of enemies. The game requires a lot of party management in general, with each character having armor slots, different weapons, each with their own level up schemes, materia slots, and unique moves. Materia are cute little orbs of power which allow characters to perform spells, limits, and other special ATB abilities. Blue materia can also be combined to buff other materia, including chaining magic attacks to other enemies or increasing their damage. The combat is complex but also rewarding when you find the perfect combos and setups for your party. This is especially true for the game on the hardest difficulty where you cannot use items. The combat is also smart in that it makes you use every single weapon so that you can learn all of the moves that a character can potentially learn. There are some sections of the game which felt overly dragged out at points, but generally the overall pacing of the game is well done. There's no need to watch out for pointy bits this time around,
Ooh, watch out for those pointy bits.
as this game has had a major improvement in terms of graphics compared to the original. The characters and environments in this game look really great. The game is unfortunately let down by some other aspects such as bad lip sync on a lot of the characters outside of cutscenes. Some textures also look quite low res when looked at up close, sticking out against the rest of the game's beautiful aesthetic. These can be slightly off-putting, but doesn't put off too much from the overall aesthetic of the game. This game is still gorgeous, and going into tactical mode during combat is always a treat. Getting to watch the effects in the game in slow motion and in high detail is really impressive. And the cinematography of the game is exceptional, with epic camera pans and zooms that make the cutscenes extremely engrossing. And I'm always a sucker for smooth transitions to and from gameplay and cutscenes, which this game is full of. The music for Final Fantasy VII Remake also needs a huge shout out because this soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. Practically every piece from the original soundtrack is beautiful, with fantastic orchestration. Uematsu does an amazing job of evoking emotion in the soundtrack. The songs perfectly fit the moments in the game. The very first boss battle absolutely sets a tone of what's to come throughout the rest of the game. Some of the most famous songs from the series have been excellently remade as well. Final Fantasy VII Remake is another absolutely fantastic remake that nails it in pretty much all aspects, especially in the gameplay, music, and cinematics department, with the game lasting 40 hours in total in our playthrough, and with a new game plus mode as well. There's lots of time to sink into this game. It may still be worth renting this title if you don't plan on repeating the story once you complete it though. The 24K Club gave the game a 8 out of 10 on average, and my score for Final Fantasy VII Remake is a 9 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching this 24K review. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews in the future, and leave a comment on what game you think we should review next. Check out my socials, all the links are in the description below. And until the next one, this is GoldKarat signing out. Peace! Little Nightmares is a very interesting game. From leeches that just want to suck. Long arm boy who just wants a hug.